apples.
I don't ever slow down, no, I don't take it. I got no
On out. But that's a new personal best.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
What's going on, everybody? We're back out in the shop and we're doing the thing, and it's a disaster in here, but what it's not is freezing cold. It's chilly, but it's not freezing cold, and that is quite nice. Nice enough that we've even got the shop door open with some sunlight. We've been busy. Basically, we've done a good bit of work and didn't film any of it because we came out and did a bunch of work last weekend and didn't put together a video. Sorry. It wasn't all that exciting. It was lots of the fill work. But what has been going on today is a coat of green went on to the rear deck lid after Paige did a bunch of fantastic work with working with body filler for the first time ever.
I would not say fantastic work.
It's fantastic work. All right. So she used body filler for the first time ever, did some skim coats to fill a couple of low spots and flatten it all out. And you know what? It's pretty good. Is it show car grade? Nope, but we don't do show cars here, so it's good enough.
Good enough for rattle can.
Good enough. And then she's also been doing some of the knockdown work on this door, getting it ready. We do still have to go back through and weld up all the trim holes. I think we've talked about that before. No trims going on this car, so I'm going to weld up all the trim holes. That way they can be smoothed out and go away. And then as you saw at the very beginning of the video, let me get down here where the work's been. I have been busy back here. We did the last video on this car was putting this piece in and doing the inner lip on the outer wheelhouse, and basically got it all roughed in and mostly welded in. And then I've since installed the rear section. I'll move back that way a little bit, which was a total disaster. It was much worse than I expected on this car. Well, on this side. Well, I think you get the idea. I knew the other side over there was bad. We had already kind of looked at that, and we could tell just looking at the car, we knew that that side was rotted out. This side looked halfway decent until we started working on it, and then found out that it was just as bad on this side. It was nothing but Bondo from here down, and someone did a rather impressive job of building up an excess of Bondo to make the body look like there was still a body there, but there wasn't. Anyway, this panel's in, and for the most part, the welds is cleaned up as it's gonna get. There are a few spots, if you look closely, like in this region, you can kind of see where the weld's not ground down totally flush. And that's because the two panels got a little bit of a concave to them. It sucked in a little bit. We'll chalk it up to I probably didn't have them lined up well enough, and when I welded it in, which I found that there's a little bit of that going on over here as well, which is why you can still see some of the weld in that region. It's not completely flushed out like it is right here where it came out really good. But it's not so bad that a skim coat of filler over that before we paint it won't make that completely disappear. And when you step away from it, 5 feet or so, it looks pretty freaking good. Good enough for me. I'll take it. So that piece is in. I spent a good bit of time screwing around with the trunk drop. I think what these are typically referred to. It's this piece here. It runs up to the back of the wheelhouse up in, turn a light on. Runs up to the back of the wheelhouse right up there. And you can see I've just got it clamped in right now. I don't have that welded in. It's clamped in because I'm trying to get that positioned and fitted along with the floor pan patch that goes over on this side. Because, well, you got to fill the big gaping hole. And I don't know that trunk drop is really a great shape. It's not lining up very well. So there's probably going to be a bit of a fiasco to get that actually in its finished position. But the good thing is I can kind of clamp it in there, keep it where I kind of think it needs to be as far as how it lines up with the existing metal and with the new trunk pan going in, get the trunk pan situated and at least partially welded in, and then I can pull that trunk drop out, in and out underneath there a few times and try and get it tweaked and bent and finagled into place so that it fits all right. But there was also another issue I ran into with the trunk pan, which I thought was kind of interesting. Paige, you want to give me a hand with this part?
Yes.
I'm going to interrupt her doing her masking. She's getting ready to paint the door jamb, I believe. Right?
Yes.
Yep. So, and you can see she already painted up the inside of that door, which is going to make it look a million times better than what it looked like before. I don't even remember what it looked like before, but it's a whole lot better now.
Well, if you
It was
see,
pretty awful.
It was all rusted right here.
No, it wasn't. It's fine.
Yeah, now it's fine.
It's fine now. So, all right. One thing I discovered here in the midst of fitting this trunk pan to that GoPro, doing GoPro things again, cutting me off for no good reason.
It doesn't like you.
One of these days we won't have that problem. But today is not that day. So, where was it? Oh, the thing I discovered, again, aftermarket sheet metal, it's rarely a perfect fit. And this floor pan, really, this trunk pan, has been fairly close. But one of the things that I found, which was very strange, is the trunk pan has all these indentations in it right here, right? And which is good. That gives this a lot of rigidity and stiffness in this panel, so it doesn't want to tweak and just be flimsy. But what I discovered is the car, the factory sheet metal, which if you want to switch sides with me,
That's where I was coming.
the factory sheet metal here along this line does not have a place for those indentions to lie. So if I drop this in over here, it's pretty close to where it goes. Still needs to be actually cut in so I can weld it. You can see that these indentions come up all the way up here into this flat section. And because there was no place in this metal for those indentions to land, I had to cut those up and bend them out of place. So if we look on, we gotta do a hot swap again. If we look over on this side, which is still all rock here, you look through here, those indentions don't exist. So I'll end up having to do, this is the pan for that side, go figure. I'll end up having to do the same thing. You can see this has got these same types of indentions right here where they're sunk down in, but that doesn't exist here. And since this is overlapping with the whole rear tail section, the options are kind of limited. Either you have to modify the rear tail section to line up with these indentions so that the panels sit in right, or you have to cut the indention and modify them the way I did on that pan, which really isn't hard. I don't know if maybe these pans are for a 65 and these indentions are typical to a 65.
They came with the car.
Yeah, the pans came with the car. A lot of the sheet metal for a 64 is marketed as 64, 65 because a lot of it is the same. but there are probably minute differences, and this might be one of them. These indentions might be 65 only, which is why they didn't exist on the 64, but since everything else about the panel fits in a 64, maybe they use the same stamping and mark it. So if you're doing a 65 and you get these panels, which are by CHL, you'll have to modify either the lower rear support or modify the pan. I went ahead and modified this pan. All I did was I took my grinder and I made a couple of cuts to relieve the structural integrity of the stamping in that area, and then took a hammer and dolly and flattened that center section out, and then we'll just have to weld fill that in, grind it smooth, and it'll look like it was supposed to be that way from the get-go. But we're almost there. The next step on the rear trunk is to actually start cutting that in. I'll take, zip disc and cut it in, get one side seated, put a couple of tack welds on it, and then start working my way around to get that section put in. This center section was crudely replaced at some point by someone previous to us. The metal itself is good, and it was installed with rivets. I not necessarily a fan of the fact that it was just riveted in, but I'm gonna leave it because it's in there and it's solid enough, so it'll be fine. It makes the trunk floor, right? Right? Yeah?
Well, what sits there?
Nothing.
My gas tank.
Are you thinking that the fuel cell is going back in here?
Don't you touch my fuel cell.
The fuel cell's not going back in here. You don't want a fuel cell in here.
Why not?
Because you want your factory gas tank so you can use your sweet flippy...
We don't have a factory gas tank.
Oh, then you better buy one.
You're gonna put my fuel cell back in.
I'm not putting the fuel cell back in. Serious.
Oh my gosh.
Why would we put the fuel cell back in? That's it. Look at that big ugly thing.
You guys are gonna see a full-on fight happening right now.
It's a big ugly box. Do you want the big ugly box ruining all your trunk space? Do you know what you could haul back here?
Yeah, dead body.
The easy up,
A husband.
your drag slicks,
A husband.
or your drag radials. And I could probably get in here and hug some drag radials. Try not to fall through the side that's still rusty, but this seems like the perfect place to take a nap during race week. Oh, lights out. Yep. I could definitely take a nap back here. I think there's more room back here than I actually have in the bed. Oh, perfect. Look at that. You can't tell me that this is not a good fit.
Whatever. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I'm going back to my painting.
All right, go back to your painting. We'll catch up with you guys in a bit.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on the tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine. Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even he couldn't learn how to contain it. Her high heels make a damn good statement. There is no replacement, a body by Satan. 'Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place off the liquor that we chase. Got some egos to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. 'Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on her tight frame. All game, no shame, baby came here to play. I feel like an addict 'cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep 'em out your face, no way, you don't want 'em, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily spreading like a rare disease, but I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah. Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me.
Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and Expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, now leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression,
Could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
How about them apples, huh? That's right. It's in there. But I digress. Enough jacking around. It's not finished, all right? There's still a good bit to do in there. I struggle with it a little bit. Not as much as I thought I would. I'm putting the camera down. My back is sore crawling around down in here. This is actually, I didn't think this was going to be as hard of a spot to work in as it actually is. I mean, this line's not going to be hard, but working up in this region and up there where I can't really reach it from the outside of the car very well without leaning over, that was a bit challenging to get figured out in a position to make it work, but we got there, and it's all locked in. All right. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I just need to finish welding it. Some of it gave me a little bit of a challenge as far as getting it to stick. There's probably a little more rotten metal that could have been cut away for new metal, but you know, this is what we ended up with. This region up in here, where you can't really see right now, doesn't line up very well. It's going to be what it is. That'll all get seam sealer put in it once it's locked in. I'll have to get underneath and clamp the wheel well to the new inner, to that lip, clamp those together and get a weld in there. Not sure what that's going to look like yet. There's not much for access right there either, so that's probably going to be a pain in the neck. But that's a problem for a different day. We're not going to worry about that right now. The spot welds. You probably noticed that I put a couple spot welds in and then pulled the whole floor out. Put a spot weld in, pulled the whole floor back out again. I started with fairly small holes, 1/8 inch diameter holes, because I'm using a real small 023 wire on the welder. So I thought an 1/8 inch diameter hole was going to be enough for me to get it to burn into the brace underneath before it built up. And that just wasn't the case. I wasn't getting any penetration into the brace underneath, and it wasn't biting. So I was having to pull it back out, grind the backside smooth, and then try again. And after 2 failed attempts, I went to a larger 3/16 hole. No, that might even be a 1/4 inch hole, whatever the case. I opened the hole up for the spot weld a good bit more so I could get the puddle started on the brace before I built it up into the floor pan, which resulted with much larger welds. But in the end, they'll grind out flush and be fine. Some of them, you may notice, we'll bring this in a little closer right over here. Right down in here, you'll notice that some of these don't have weld in them yet. The brace underneath doesn't exactly match the floor pan perfectly. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about those. I may drill a self-tapper screw or something down and suck the 2 pieces together in one hole and weld the 2 adjacent sides if that gets it to close up. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll just weld fill them and they won't be there. There is a lot of spot welds that are locked in and it's not going anywhere. So worst case, if those aren't there, it's not the end of the world. But we also have, moving you around again, see this gap right here. What I'm probably going to have to do is I'm probably just going to have to make a piece the way this center section was put in, just slapped over the top and riveted up here, makes this have a weird jaggedy step right here. So I don't know. I'll figure something out to fill that. I don't know what it'll be. I may actually, you know what? Probably what it's going to be is I'm probably going to cut up here and drop it down and do a transition piece that'll go from this to this edge that's forward and kind of make up the difference. And there'll be a weird lap kind of point right here that we'll have to live with. It's fine. The only way to fix that would be to, well, I mean, I could do that too, is I could cut all along here and actually seat this panel in aligned with this the way it should be. But this all really doesn't look that bad, so I'll probably take the easy way out. Right? Right? The easy way out? I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But we have a floor. A lot more welding to do on it, but that's not going to happen in this video because my back is sore from being in, the awkward positions I had to work in to do what's been done. I can live with what's here once we get it all finished up, and I think it'll be all right. And then once that's all fine and dandy, I'll have to come back and rinse and repeat on that side. Oh, and the trunk drop. The trunk drop is in there. It's not perfectly lined up, but again, I think with some clamping and hammer and mallet abuse that I can make it work, and it'll be good enough. Again, we ain't doing perfect. Let's be real. The way to have properly done this would have been a one-piece rear floor pan, and to do it with the frame out of the way. That way you could bring it in from underneath and get it everything all fit well, which would have also meant probably replacing wheel tubs instead of patching them like I did on that side. And what I will end up doing on that side, again, I will cut out the rotted section down low, put a patch in, and send it on its way. Once this is all done though, eventually, and we grind it all out and get rid of all the protruding welds, and then we come in with like a spackle, a trunk spackle paint of some sort, probably, most likely, because that's usually what looks best in the trunk. Once we do that over all the welds, you ain't gonna notice any of this. Even those patch panels, you ain't gonna see them. They're gonna disappear. Gonna disappear in the spackle paint. Because what do you do with a crack? You fill it with spackle it. And we'll get it welded up, we'll spackle it, and it'll be a done deal, and this trunk will look great, and we'll be able to move on. So I have learned a lot though. The welding with the sheet metal work and knowing how much gap is enough gap and how much gap I can fill. I was a little concerned that I did end up with a little bit of too big of a gap right here, but I think I can make it work. I was able to get the individual welds to actually bite across, and once you have a weld there, if you just work off the edge of that eld, the one that's existing, work off the edge of that a little bit forward and keep doing that, then you'll be able to bridge that gap no problem. So I'm kind of happy with that. The process of how to do this is really coming to me. I'm really starting to get a feel for it. I think I'll be able to get this side done probably a good bit quicker than I've gotten this side done. But again, first timer jitters, not wanting to screw it up, especially after I went and screwed up the floor pan in there by cutting it short and not having it fitted right and made a whole bunch more work for myself. But it's all good. That's part of the process. And at the end of the day, the trunk has got a lid that's going to close and you won't see it, but the spackle paint will hide it anyway. And after that's been ground out, that looks pretty freaking good. I'm not disappointed in that whatsoever. I have seen way worse come out of shops. I've seen stuff that I'm like, ooh, that looks terrible. And it's not terrible. It's not show car. but it's not terrible. I can live with it. I still don't know what I'm gonna do with that corner back there, right down there. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that corner yet because that was totally jacked. I don't know. Figure that out eventually at some point. But for now, it is what it is. So I'm fixing to call it a day. As you can see, I think this was done the last time I had the camera going, but you can see Paige was out here and she got a bunch of work done, getting more of the miscellaneous colors covered up and a nice flat black door jamb. So that'll be decent. And we got green panel work and everything, all that good stuff. So there's still a ton of work to be done, but it's actually getting somewhere. And I think when it's done for what this car is gonna be, I think it's gonna be perfect. Like I said, it ain't gonna be show car, but from a solid 20, 30 feet away, she's gonna be a winner, which is the best kind of car to have for a driver, because then, you know, when it gets a rock chip, you just don't worry about it. You're like, shit happens. Ding, dropping the S-bomb. So, with all that being said, and my back being sore, and also having been told that dinner is on the table, I'm going to sign it off from right here, standing on my work, because I have faith now that I won't fall through this floor. We'll see you guys on the next one.